many times told from a shepherd's point of view. Today we will experience the story through the eyes of the sheep. It was Christmas Eve, and Grandpa Woolley was just settling down in his corner of the pasture.
Faith, hope, joy, I know you're out there. What are you doing up? It's past your bedtime.
I wanted to hear the story.
What story?
The one about the greatest shepherd of all.
Okay, come sit by me and I'll tell you the story. One night, there were 3 little sheep out with their shepherds in the pasture. In fact, they remind me a lot of you 3.
Really? They were a lot like us? Shh, I'm trying to listen. I just want to hear the rest.
Okay. The 3 little sheep were the most curious sheep you could ever imagine. They got into all kinds of mischief. When the shepherds carried the 3 sheep home after their adventures, they often talked about a new shepherd. They said this new shepherd was coming to find all the lost sheep of the world. The 3 little sheep thought that this new shepherd sounded pretty wonderful. So one night, the 3 little sheep were eavesdropping while the shepherd sat around the campfire. Suddenly, the sky was filled with light. The sheep had never seen anything like it. They darted behind the bushes. Even their shepherds looked scared. After their eyes had adjusted to the bright light, the sheep couldn't believe what they saw. An angel. Then the angel said,
Don't be afraid. I bring you good news of great joy.
Then the angel announced that the new shepherd had been born in a town called Bethlehem. When the angels had finished telling the good news, more angels appeared and praised God. Then the angels left, and the sky was dark again. But the shepherds were so happy, they seemed to glow.
He's here. He's here. Thank you, God. Let's go find him.
The three sheep knew what they wanted to do. They wanted to go with the shepherds. Very quietly, they began to sneak through the darkness, following the shepherds. At first, they thought the shepherds, this seemed fun. But after what seemed like a long time walking through the darkness, the three little sheep were getting tired.
I've got to stop.
The other two sheep secretly wanted to rest too, so they began to lay down on a patch of grass, being sure to keep their eyes on the shepherds. But they felt so tired that before they knew it, they had drifted off to sleep. When they awoke, it was still dark, and the shepherds were nowhere in sight.
What are we going to do?
We have to go back. We can't go back. We have to meet the new shepherd.
They sat for a moment in silence, and then they knew what they had to do. They got back on their hooves and looked around.
Which way do we go?
I've been to Bethlehem before. I think it's that way.
They walked what seemed like a very long way. Then they heard something that every sheep fears. An animal made a low noise behind them. They ran as fast as they could. Before they knew it, they were at the edge of a steep hill. The three little sheep looked back at this large shadow moving towards them, took a deep breath, and ran over the hill. Soon they were tumbling down until they landed in a cloud of dust at the bottom.
Ooh, that sounds scary. I wouldn't have been scared. Please tell us what happened next, Grandpa Wooly.
Well, they looked up and they saw the animal still standing at the top of the hill. But when they saw the animal, they had to laugh to themselves. It was just a silly cow. The sheep looked at each other and laughed some more. They were all covered in dirt.
Hooray, I'm so glad they're okay.
The sun was just coming up, and they could see a small village. A little girl was drawing water from a well. Maybe they could clean up there so the new shepherd couldn't see them like this. They hurried and scurried towards her.
Look, Daddy, sheep.
Great. I'm heading to the market today to get you some more sheep.
The three little sheep gulped. If they were sold in the market, they'd never get home again. Before they could think of a way to escape, they were herded in with the other sheep, and the man began using a staff to make them walk down the road. After what seemed like many hours and miles, the three little sheep finally arrived at the market. Their hooves ached and their hearts were heavy. Now they would never meet the new shepherd. Just when the three little sheep thought things were hopeless, they saw something that made them jump for joy. They're shepherds! They began stomping their feet and making as much noise as they could. Fortunately, they had the kind and loving shepherds who knew their sheep.
Hey, those are our sheep. What are they doing here?
The shepherd talked to the man, and before they knew it, the three little sheep were safe in their shepherd's arms.
You three sheep get in more trouble than any sheep I've ever seen.
I know why you came here. You wanted to meet the new shepherd. Well, now you get your chance.
The sheep could hardly believe it. They really were going to meet the new shepherd. The shepherds carried them through the streets as evening set in. It was noisy and crowded and dirty. The people seemed tired and confused, like they also had a very long day. They looked like they needed a shepherd too. The shepherds brought them to an inn, but instead of going inside, they went to a stable just outside.
Mary and Joseph, we've come back, and we brought our sheep along. We hope you don't mind.
Mary and Joseph smiled and let them in. The shepherds set them down in front of the manger.
Meet the new shepherd. His name is Jesus.
The three little sheep leaned over the edge and peered inside. This was the new shepherd. He was just a baby. They looked inside again, closer this time. The baby opened his eyes and looked at them. The three sheep felt something in their hearts leap when they looked into his face. Suddenly, they didn't feel dirty or tired. They felt peaceful and happy, the happiest they had ever been. And they felt clean, as white as snow. Even if the rest of the world didn't realize it yet, they knew this wasn't just any new shepherd. This little baby was the shepherd, the one God promised. The shepherds let them look at the baby just for a few moments, and then they said,
Time to go home. We got to share the good news.
the three little sheep agreed. This was the best news ever. Shepherds praised God all the way home. The three little sheep did too. And from then on, the sheep told everyone they met about the new shepherd who was really the greatest shepherd of all. So that's how the three little sheep, who were a lot like you, met the greatest shepherd of all.
That's why we celebrate Christmas, isn't it?
Yes, it is, absolutely.
I knew it. Do you think the shepherd loves us?
Yes, he loves you very much.
He really is the greatest shepherd of all, isn't he?
Yes, Joy, he really is the greatest shepherd of all.